Blazing Emerald is probably one of my favourite versions of Pokémon Emerald, and a game I've done a video on previously. I didn't think it could get any better, and then after almost a year of work, StruedelMuffin and his team dropped the 1.6 update, featuring things like new starters, new forms, and new teams. It did give me a thought though. Can you beat Pokémon Blazing Emerald's 1.6 hard mode with only Hoennian Forms? Loading up a new game, we're given options, namely whether we'd like to play on hard mode or not. Now, hard mode is a beautiful thing, introducing a blanket ban on item use in battle, level caps, and forcing set mode to be on. Given that I'm the sort of man who likes to use sheer brute force to overcome difficulties, level caps pose the biggest threat to me. But it should be fun, mainly because alongside the setting of hard mode, we get another option, standard or custom starters. Standard mode gives us the same 3 starter choices as the last video with Eevee, Clefairy and Pikachu. Well, custom mode is a Pokemon fan's wet dream, giving you access to a whole heap of options, including all of the starters from Gens 1 through 3, a few Hoennian forms, and a few absolute monsters down the bottom. Crucially for this challenge though, it's the 3 Hoennian form Pokemon that's added to the list that we care about: Solosis, Tynamo and Dreepy. Solosis gains the grass typing, Tynamo gains the ground typing, and Dreepy trades its ghost type for fire. As an absolute moron, king of the plebs and a grade A dickhead, I thought a fire type would come in really handy on the team, so I chose Dreepy, completely neglecting the fact that A, fire type Hoennian forms are overly common, B, it takes forever to evolve, and C, until such time as it evolves, it's pretty weak and useless. Hey ho, decisions were made, and now it's time to think of a name. But before I do, I promised a shout out to people who correctly guessed the naming scheme of the last video, and my, I had some absolutely amazing comments. There's this one from ZT Frenchie, this one from Brandon Fuller, and this one from Harbinger. But the Midnight Spectrum Club came closest, with a small correction from myself. Although, the comments on this one were gold, from suggestions of needing to use Hypno, to other names I should have included. Yet still, there's another naming scheme for this one, so comment down below if you get the reference for a shout out in the next one. I named my Dreepy Dirge, and we head up to challenge May. Something happened down here that really shocked me, scarred me even. Something that will haunt my dreams, like taking a lady home after a night on the town, taking off her dress and realising hers is bigger than yours. I lost the fight against May. I have no explanation, I've let you all down here. #Bref's a pleb. Luckily, levelling up here is kinda easy, so I come back a short while later to administer my Dreepy's paddle directly to the bare arse of her Eevee. Easy win eventually. I was one fight in and already pretty desperate to get rid of Dreepy. I wanted a new team member. Doing this run, I had the Blazing Emerald spreadsheet open and a tab with all the forms on, so I knew I only had to persist for a short while to find a new one. That short while took me into Petalburg Woods, where I encountered my first new form, a dark bug type Venonat. Venonat's one of those forms that evolves into a different Pokemon depending on the gender, so I'm destined to keep this typing. Fine by me. I name him Avion and head towards Roxanne. My situation hasn't improved much here. I have 2 Pokemon, both of whom are weak to Roxanne and her rock-hard balls of sentient disaster. The level cap for Gym 1 is 15, so we're not weak, we're just not strong. Thanks to the new EXP system, hitting the level cap is kinda easy, which makes grinding much less of a pain. In a lot of instances, there isn't too much to do. The big win for me here is Dragon Rage. Hitting for a guaranteed 40 HP of damage at this stage is a lifesaver, and it comes in clutch here. We sit down, drink our Stella, and beat Roxanne. Go figure. Next, we head into the tunnel in search of an absolute unit of a man who makes the most hardcore move in all of gaming history. I can't, I just can't. Get me to Juford. Upon landing, I head into the cave. I know there's a very specific Pokemon I'm searching for. Dunsparce. I don't find a Hoennian Dunsparce though. I find a shiny Hoennian Dunsparce, and oh my word, isn't it beautiful? I catch her, name her Phalanx, and GTFO. I head down to the beach to do the double battle with Blake, and head to the gym to fight him. This battle tripped me up a few times. I'd hit the level 20 level cap, and I thought I'd met my match. Despite having bug type moves on a certain team member, I did really struggle. Luckily it was just a case of adjusting the starting order and I am able to defeat him, but my god did this man screw me over. We all know what happens next, so I'm going to take this time to shamelessly plug my content like Tion plugs his arse on the weekend. I have joined TikTok. Yeah, I know, I'm disappointed in myself as well. I'll be posting short funny clips from my newer videos on there, and I've already got a few up today, with more coming every single upload. Give it a follow, give them some likes and shares, and enjoy the best of the Breph on TikTok. Link to the channel is in the description. When we land on Slateport, we head north and catch ourselves a Farfetch'd. We can't use it right now as it's not a Hoennian form, but when it evolves, we absolutely can. I name her Barber and, well, just wait, because her evolution is quite something. Right. Moving on into the museum, we deliver the package to the captain before being rudely interrupted by someone spouting a load of simp propaganda. Speaking of simp, if you like the simp emote, then why not consider joining the channel as a member? The join button is below and a link is also in the description. With all team members in the party, we head off to challenge May on the way to Moorville.
Who's that Pokémon?
It's Pikachu!
It's Clefairy!
Stab Body Slam, Stab Spark, and Silk Scarf absolutely swept her aside. On the way to fight yet another electric type video game character, Barber hits level 28 and evolves into Malarkey. Brilliant name if you ask me. It's a flying fighting type and an absolute beast. Anyway, Wally stands at the door before the gym and he uses a Swablu, Magnemite, and Curlier. Swablu throws me off actually. It's really strange seeing the Gen 3 sprite and it being a fairy type, which is my plebish excuse for using a dragon type move against it. Ultimately, Phalanx is the key to unlocking this fight and giving us free reign to battle Watson. This was a touchy fight, not quite as touchy as Prison FC's new left back Benjamin Mendy is accused of being, but a little bit more than former Prison FC winger Adam Johnson. Those jokes are so bad. I'm sorry. I plead guilty as charged. Oh, boy, I'm on a roll. That reminds me, I must get to the shop and buy a malted Basuma loaf. Leaving the gym, Avion evolves into Muramoth, and I must admit, these sprite designs are some of the best I've ever seen. Nintendo really need to take some notes here. Fortunately, for those who think the gameplay has gone stale, we can get our mitts on a couple of new team members. First, I catch a Doduo and another Pokemon that I cannot use yet, but it will be amazing later on. I name her Chenobia, drop her in the PC and search for my next team member, immediately finding the fire normal type Teddiursa and naming him Valus. Almost immediately I evolve him into Ursaring, and actually that happens around the same time as Dreepy evolved too. Unfortunately, a lot of these Pokemon I catch I won't use anymore, including Skarmory, a steel fire type. I found one up in the normal area intending to catch him, but #Bref's a pleb strikes again. I had intended to hit the button that I have bound to B to go back, but I slipped and hit F1 instead, loading my last save state, which I made before I challenged May for some reason. Not the second May, the very first one. This is the very definition of a brutal screw-up. Yeah, I royally cucked myself here, so I did the only applicable thing and switched off the game, sat down in a cold dark shower and cried. I didn't, I played FIFA 22, but I think I know what depressed me more, and it certainly wasn't Pokemon. So myself, being the cheaty McCheaterson that I am, hacked in a rare candy or two and raced back to the position I was in. Except I wasn't actually going to mention the rare candies and running back, but when I found a level 4 shiny Zigzagoon and I was level 25, I figured I'd have some explaining to do. I've recaught our team members. Dunsparce wasn't shiny this time, unfortunately, but don't worry, because Farfetch'd was. Oh, and that's not all. In Fiery Path, I bump into a shiny Magby as well. Right, now we're all caught up. Back to Skarmory. I find one, catch one, and name it Malice. And at this point, my mind was racing ahead. What exactly do I do when I beat Norman? I don't have a surf user. My heart sunk, I panicked, but I had to pull myself together. Maxie was waiting at the summit of a volcano for me, and I had to go and beat him. Along the way, I caught a Tangela, a fighting type Pokemon now with an ability that makes it deal damage on contact, but also weak to fire. I name him Kuramori and head off to fight the leader of Team Magma. I was so cocky in this fight that I didn't even revive some of my fallen team members, a cockiness of mine that was actually validated for once. We beat Maxie without too much issue. The issue came when I headed down towards Flannery, but forgot about the Wally encounter. Guess that makes me the Wally then, doesn't it? Unlike your dad with the milk, we returned and dealt with the situation, heading over to Flannery. Flannery do be looking fine out here today, so fine in fact that I had to break out my pickup lines. Don't worry, I checked, Google says she's legal. I get up to her, stare her in the eyes and gently whisper, "Roses are red and you're looking fine. You be the 6 and I'll be the 9. To cut a long story short, Officer Jenny turned up and now I'm on more than just my university attendance register. Totally worth it though, I got a shiny new badge out of it. Before heading on to progress with the actual game, I head into the desert to catch 2 new Pokemon. The first is a Hoennian Pinsir, a bug ground type absolute unit glass cannon. This is just a freaky design though, I absolutely love it. I name her Pelagia. I doubt I'll use it very much actually because I plan on using the next one. I go and catch a Cubone, evolving it into Marowak and gain Cenobia a single level with it in the party, evolving it into Dodrio, a flying ground type that I cannot wait to use. Anyway, next on my list of people to grab by the throat and beat off, it's time to visit Daddy Norm. He's always been my little bitch, good for nothing except taking a brutal spanking and giving me money for it. It was for that reason that I didn't bother levelling up the whole team to the level 40 cap. This was by no means an optimal fight, in fact I'm fairly sure Barber could have swept the entire team, but it doesn't matter. Daddy is a sweating, shaking mess when I'm done and I'm swanning off with a big grin on my face. Until that is, I realised that we don't have anyone that can learn Surf, and I sat toiling the location list for Pokemon to see if there was a single shred of hope. Why is my tap squirting? And I sat toiling the location list for Pokemon to see if there was a single shred of hope for this. I even caught a Magikarp in preparation for evolving it and failing the challenge. But then I found it. On Route 115 with the old rod, which is coincidentally the only rod we have access to, it has a chance for a tentacle. And Route 115 can be accessed from Rustborough. Could have had a damn water type user for the rock type gym all along. I hate myself. I hate myself. Tentacle is a water electric type in this game and is the perfect member for the team. I fish one up and name her Hydrus. Finally, the next section of the game is open to us, namely the Weather Institute, and on a quick side note, I really wish Cast Form got a Hoennian form. I understand its gimmick being about the weather, but it's just a stable change, hail, rain or sun. At the very least, I wish it had things like sandstorm, and in this game, an eclipse can be present, so things like that. Until that day, I refuse to use it again. Not that it was any great loss to us when we came face to face with May. The biggest thing in these ROM hacks that throws me off is the inclusion of fairy types. I'm an old school man, pre-fairy type days. I'm confident on my type matchups for those ones. I never actually played Gen 6 when it first came out, and I have so much love for Gens 2, 3 and 4 that I just struggle to adjust to it. Never mind though, that's another day's issue. Right now, my main thing to overcome is Winona. Her team of flappy little are full of weaknesses to members of my team, and at one point I genuinely believed it was going to turn into a sweep. It didn't, but who cares? We fly on the wings of love out of there, and before going to Mount Pyre, we head to Lily Cove where we challenge May for the final time. Her team is bigger, but not scarier. In fact, one of my biggest criticisms of the Hoenn games is that neither May nor Wally actually come across as challenging rivals. They're an annoyance, one more major fight in the game, but never one that isn't easily overcome. Take a look at the rival from the Gen 3 Kanto games, and the later game difficulty in that fight is a lot more like what Hoenn should have had. But the situation is what it is, and we beat her again, after which Dirge evolves for the final time and puts us back on our path. Mount Pyre is where the game gives us all a valuable life lesson. Archie teaches us the lesson about pulling out, and he must be talking about how to park a car or something, because just over his shoulder, Big Bird is looking sad before putting the Hypno and rope back in his bag and pulling himself out of the situation. That's not true, by the way. We all know that Big Bird doesn't pull out. The old woman is grateful for us saving her from the horrible experiments that Big Bird's big schlong would have put her through, and gives us the magma emblem. Using it, we head to fight Maxie. His team really isn't so tough actually. Dragon darts and stab charcoal boosted devil darts is one hell of a combination. Even though it isn't enough to take the sweep, it's enough to do the majority of the job, and giving me a free pass to head to Slateport. Here we gatecrash the interview with Captain Stern, but not quite to the same degree as Archie, who breaks in and steals a submarine. Well, without a boat, I don't think Stern can call himself a captain, so we stand in front of him and beckon him closer, whispering to him, "I'm the captain now." He stands there shocked for a moment before a huge grin comes onto his face. Unnerving, really, but he tells us he liked it, and you should like it too. By it, I mean this video. Smash that like button, and if you haven't already, the subscribe button too. Anyhow, moving on, I'm going to skip around the whole Lily Cove hideout thing and head up towards Mosty, where we get to take on the double battle gym in Tate and Liza. With a team of 6 level 50 Pokemon in my party, they didn't stand a chance. To be brutally honest, the Hoennian Forms we have so far have been beastly, even with level caps in play. Hard mode hasn't been hard. It's been fun, it's had a lot of new challenges, but it hasn't been hard for me so far. To be honest, nothing else major happens after that gym. I head into the Shoal Cave to catch an Onyx that I named Bassaran. I won't use it, but I did want to show it off. And on my recon trips to discover Pacific and Setopolis, I found a shiny Chinchou that I will be using. Chinchou swaps its electric type for the ghost typing and evolves using a Dusk Stone, one of which I picked up in Mount Pyre earlier. Lantern's design looks amazing, like an actual lantern. The shiny form is okay-ish. I think I'd like to have seen a darker sprite, but never mind, all is well here. It's time for story stuff to take place now. We head down to the underwater cave, take on the fight with Archie, which just goes swimmingly. Ha! Watertight puns. I love my life. And after which, all hell breaks loose. Stephen tells us not to do anything reckless, and immediately we do something reckless, heading straight to the source of the trouble. We dive into the Cave of Origin, then embark up the Sky Pillar to touch Kermit's third leg, and head back to Setopolis where we encounter Juan. Lantern turned out to be kinda useless, as it dies straight away. Never mind. Actually, that was kinda the theme for the rest of this fight, until Barber comes in and absolutely decimates with Sky Uppercut. That useless little bird Farfetch'd has become the biggest asset on the team. I thoroughly recommend you use one yourself. With all 8 gym badges in our possession, I head off to Evergrande City where we encounter Wally for the... Do you mind? You are... Why did I move in next to a fire station? Where we encounter Wally for the final time. To be brutally honest, his team is, in my opinion, worse than the original. Having both Gardevoir and Gallade on the team just feels like a bit of an excuse to show off that Gallade is in this game. I think the better option would have been to have Wally use Gallade here without the Gardevoir, but that's just my thoughts. Let me know what you think in the comments below. The level cap for the final series of events is 60, which sounds like a really high level until you realise that the champion has Pokemon up to level 75. Still, this is the only time that the level caps have felt like they'd be a proper restriction to the playthrough. I can tell that hard mode was meant to be the challenge for Nuzlockers, and I get the feeling that it absolutely would be, because without Nuzlocke rules, the first Elite Four member Phoebe didn't worry us at all. Actually, while we're talking about fights that didn't worry us, neither did the second Elite Four member Serena. She uses grass-type Pokemon, and my team of flying and fire Pokemon really saw this fight through without incident. Galar's Bead is the third member of the four, and of course he uses those damn pesky fairy types. Ironically, I have a Tentacruel on the team with a poison type move. A Tentacruel I never used. Good job, Breph. Not an optimal fight, but a successful one nonetheless. I was definitely concerned about the level difference at this point, especially given how the final Elite Four member is Drake. It subsequently turned out that being worried about Drake was not something I needed to do. His Dragon-type team is full to the brim with hardcore Pokemon. Dragonite, Salamence, Garchomp, etc. But Drake's hardcore just doesn't come close to matching my hardcore. Ask my girlfriend that one. Although Drake did last just about as long. The champion is up, and given that I'd swept through the Elite Four, I anticipated an easy ride here too. An easy ride I did not get. In fact, the first time I tried this I came close. I knew it was possible, I just didn't know how possible. In fact, the winning fight was nice and simple. Leaf Blade is a one hit on Whiscash. A few other things happened that mainly involved my team being sacked off. Sacked off with an A, you dirty-minded gits. And setting up Dragon Dances on Crawdon. From there, Devil Darts are our best friend, and we beat the champion and enter the Hall of Fame with only Hoennian Forms. Now there is a post-game to this ROM hack, an extensive one and a fun one, but I won't be going through it here. I do recommend you check it out yourself. However, I do want to show something off that I found when I was messing around with this game. If you go up to where the post-game fight is and you use the walk through walls cheat, you can get close to this Pikachu, which serves a purpose in the cutscene that we've missed by using the cheat. This isn't an ordinary Pikachu, and it's time for one last game of
Who's that Pokemon?
It's Pikachu!
Steven Stone. Yeah, clever one there, StruedelMuffin, but I see what you did there. And yes, if you cheat your way with the walk through walls cheat, you can in fact fight him. But anyway, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for watching. Please do like and subscribe, and be sure to check me out on the social medias. But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed. Huge thank you specifically to the channel members, namely Gabrielle and Metal Hammer. Please make sure you're all staying safe out there, and I look forward to seeing all of you, and hopefully some more, in the next one.